Man, I honestly don't even know if NASCAR fans are fully prepared for how emotional this story is about to get, because this is not just another driver change. This is not just another team announcement. This feels bigger than racing. We are talking about a number, a car, a symbol that became completely tied to one of the most polarizing, talented, and unforgettable drivers this sport has ever seen. And now Richard Childress Racing is making a decision that honestly feels straight out of NASCAR history itself. The number 8 car, Kyle Busch's number 8 car, is officially being retired, at least until Brexton Bush is old enough to take it over. Think about that for a second. RCR is literally freezing one of the most iconic numbers in the garage because they believe nobody else should carry it after Kyle. And whether you love Kyle Busch or couldn't stand him every Sunday, you cannot deny how massive that statement really is. Stick with me, because once you connect all the dots here, from Dale Earnhardt history to Richard Childress to what this means for the future of NASCAR, this becomes one of the most emotional moments this sport has seen in a very long time. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. So here's the thing. Richard Childress Racing announced that beginning with the Coca-Cola 600, the organization will move forward using the number 33 car instead of the number 8, following the unexpected death of Kyle Busch at age 41. And I'm just going to say it straight, that hit the NASCAR world like a thunderbolt, because Kyle Busch wasn't just another champion. He wasn't just another talented driver. Kyle was one of those rare competitors who forced the entire garage to react whenever he showed up. You either rooted for him or you rooted against him harder than anybody else on the track. But either way, you watched, and RCR clearly understands the emotional weight behind that number 8. Their statement said Kyle Busch was instrumental in creating the stylized version of the number, and that it became synonymous with him throughout NASCAR. Then came the line that honestly gave a lot of fans chills. No one can carry it forward to the level that he did. That is powerful. Because organizations do not just pause iconic numbers unless there is something deeply personal attached to them. And the wild part is, this decision immediately brought longtime fans back to 2001. After Dale Earnhardt's death in the Daytona 500, Richard Childress Racing stepped away from the legendary black number 3 car and replaced it with the number 29. The number Tony. 3 stayed out of Cup competition for years until Austin Dillon, Childress's own grandson, eventually brought it back in 2014. Now history is repeating itself in a different way, only this time it's the number first. 8 waiting for Brexton Bush. And honestly, that makes the story feel emotional on a completely different level, because this is not just about preserving a number. This is Richard Childress Racing basically saying this belongs to the Busch family now. That is huge. And let's talk about Brexton for a second, because casual fans might think this is just symbolic. But hardcore racing fans already know this kid is the real deal. Brexton Bush has been racing since he was 5 years old. He already won a Tulsa Shootout Junior Sprint Championship and earned a Golden Driller, which is a massive accomplishment in dirt racing circles. Last season alone, he reportedly won 48 races and scored more than 100 top 5 finishes across different types of race cars. At 11 years old, that is insane. And if you've watched interviews with Kyle over the years, you already know how invested he was in Brexton's racing future. Kyle practically lived and breathed competition, and you could tell seeing his son race brought out a completely different side of him. That's why this whole situation feels so heavy emotionally, because now the NASCAR world is looking at Brexton not just as Kyle's son, but potentially as the future return of the number 8 itself. And that creates enormous pressure, massive expectations, maybe unfair expectations. Because here's the reality nobody wants to say out loud: replacing a legend in NASCAR is brutal. We have seen it over and over again throughout history. The comparisons never stop. Every finish gets analyzed. Every mistake gets magnified. Every interview gets dissected. And now imagine carrying the exact number that became attached to your father's legacy. That's a different level of pressure entirely. But at the same time, NASCAR fans love legacy stories. They always have. The sport has always been built around family bloodlines, generational talent, and emotional connections between drivers and fans. That is part of what separates NASCAR from almost every other motorsport on earth. And honestly, RCR may have just created one of the most emotionally charged long-term storylines the sport has seen in years, because now every single step of Brexton Bush's development is going to be watched. Every dirt race, every late model appearance, every developmental series move. Fans are going to constantly wonder, how long until the number 8 returns? And speaking of the present, Austin Hill stepping into the Cup ride now becomes incredibly interesting too, because let's be honest, whoever drives for RCR moving forward is walking into an impossible emotional situation. Austin Hill has talent, there's no question about that. He's proven he can win races, but driving after a figure as massive as Kyle Busch changes the atmosphere around the entire organization. Sponsors feel it, crew members feel it, fans feel it, the garage feels it, and now instead of trying to replace Kyle directly in the number 8, RCR almost removed that burden entirely by switching to the number 33. Psychologically, that matters. It separates the future from the legacy. And honestly, that might be the smartest move Richard Childress Racing could have made. Because if another driver had immediately jumped into the number 8, the comparisons would have started instantly. Every restart, every radio message, every finish, fans would have compared it to Kyle Busch. Now the number itself becomes preserved history, almost sacred in a way. And whether you agree with the decision or not, you cannot deny how emotional and symbolic it feels. This is the kind of story that reminds everybody how deeply personal NASCAR really is. These are not just cars. These are identities. These numbers carry history, memories, championships, rivalries, heartbreak, and entire fan bases behind them. And Kyle Busch's number 8 clearly meant more to RCR than just paint on the side of a car. So now the big question becomes, will Brexton Bush someday actually return that number 8 to the Cup Series and continue the family legacy? Because if that moment ever happens, I'm telling you right now, it would be one of the biggest emotional moments NASCAR has seen in decades. But I want to hear from you guys. Did Richard Childress Racing make the right decision retiring the number 8 until Brexton is ready? Or should the number have stayed active in Cup competition immediately? And do you believe Brexton Bush will eventually live up to the unbelievable expectations now attached to that number? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one NASCAR fans are going to debate for a long time. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NASCAR drama, breaking stories, and real fan conversations. We got a lot more coming soon.